Alright, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be doing a video slash stream on my Stamina Dragonknight video, PvP Stamina Dragonknight. I'm going to be uploading this, or I'm going to be dedicating this video for YouTube, so I'm going to kind of word it as if I'm going to edit it in some sort of fragments. So just bear with me on that if you're watching the stream. So first of all, just kind of want to discuss the Dragonknight a little bit. I think in this patch, people are trying to just hit a lot harder than to survive more so. So that's why I think you'll see the vast majority of people are using just the same old Nightblade setups like Viper, Eternal Hun, and Selene and what have you. But I mean, Stam DKs are kind of finicky to use at some points. Like if you're gonna, like I think the generic Stam DK build is like lots of ult regen, so you could have sustain, because in some of the passives that I'm going to go over, when you ult, you restore a lot of your resources. And that's how a lot of people sustain their Stam or Magicka with Stamina Dragonknights. Also, another problem too, as I was saying, a lot of people dedicate Stam Dragonknight resources towards their ult regen, so when they ult, again, they get a lot of resources back. I found a way to kind of minimize the ult regen while still sustaining very, very well. But then again, you do have to be careful. You have to be mindful of how much stam you're spending. And then this build has pretty good utility too. I mean, it could 1vx perfectly fine. I have footage of it. I'll post it at the end of the video. There's also a 1vx video I posted, I think a week ago or so. But anyway, that's a brief little description on DKs, or Stam DKs more so. Alright, next section. So, I'm just gonna bring out my overall stats on this page so you could also see how I'm looking. For the food, I'm using the Dubious Camaranthrone. I think this is personally the best food in the game for Stam, and vice versa for the Witch Mother's Potent Brew for Magicka. I mean, it gives you max health, max Stam recovery. That's very valuable, especially with this patch. If you don't sustain, you're not going to do very well. So another thing that I'm using for the Mundas Stone, and this build is subject to change for next patch, the Horns of the Reach, and I plan on this build to actually get better. And I'll explain more so on that part, but for now we're just using the Warrior. I have no points to health, you don't need it, 64 points to stamina, and you could read for yourself what I have as for stats. They're pretty good, they're fairly balanced. And that's the back bar, or front bar, I'll buff. That's how we're looking. So it's not too bad. So food, Dubious Camaranthrone, Mundas, Warrior, and for pots, that's kind of preference, honestly. I use the immovability pots that give you the Major Expedition and Restore Stam, because those DK are kind of slow. If you could kite around really quickly, I mean, that's to your advantage. So I like those pots a lot. The health Stam ones work. The magic ones are actually real good, so you could pop Igneous Shield and Volatile Armor more often. So that's good. And I also highly, highly, highly suggest you get your alchemy to 50. I'm still yet to do that, but you need to get medicinal use. It's very important. I think when you get the third point, it adds like 30% duration on all pots, or all pot effects. So super vital that you get that. It'll help with your survivability and sustain. Alright, so to the juicy part. For sets, well, first of all, for a race, alright, I'm a Wood Elf. Reason why is I really like the overall just flat sustain that it has. 21% extra stamina recovery. Redguard's really good too. Orc does a little bit more damage, has a little bit more health, but I don't think the sustain is there like a Wood Elf or a Redguard is. I like the Wood Elf, and to be honest, adds or kind of makes her like a smaller hitbox, I guess. So yeah, increase your stam recovery by 21%. That really buffs up your stam recovery, of course. You have Resist Affliction, increases your max stam by 6% and Poison Disease resistance by 1400. Especially in this patch, Viper's a huge set. Everyone's running it. It's real annoying. You're gonna want that. And this last passive is kind of useless, but hey. Another good race too that a lot of people are using are Argonians because they have that potion buff. I forget what it's called, but if you drink a potion, it restores 12% of all your resources, including the potion type that you drank. So if you restored like 7,000 stam, it's going to have an additional 12% buff on that. So that's real big. So if you're using tripods, it's really nice. All right, so again, Red Guard, Wood Elf, Argonian, Orc, real good. It's up to you. Even Dark Elf might even work because it buffs your flame damage. All right, so for sets. 1 Maelstrom Greatsword, Sharpened. I do have a Nirnhound and a Sharpened Maul. I'm going to try it out for next patch. Just going to mess around with it a little bit. And again, I'm going to update this build next patch. I'm just going to see how everything works out, find what's going to be best, switch up the Mundas a little bit here and there, because the Lover's no longer going to give you resistance or whatever it gives you right now. It's going to change to penetration. And since Sharpen's getting a pretty fat nerf, that's going to be really important. So, Maelstrom Greatsword, Axe, Maul, whichever one you have, really, it'll work fine. I'm using 2 Shackle Breaker just for the back bar. For the enchantment on the sword, I'm using a weapon damage buff glyph. It's real helpful. I don't use this much for damage. It's more or less to just buff the healing. Like you do a light attack or a heavy attack, and then you just pop Vigor, and it works well with the major mending that you get from Igneous Shield for that 3-second countdown that you have. Then we have 1 Blood Spawn. Want this in Impen, infused, whichever one's fine. You can even use Divines on it if you have it. So that's medium armor again. We're using 5 medium impregnable, and you want to use all Divines. That's real important. And then we're using 1 Veladreth. You could use 1 Kina. That works fine as well, whichever you have. Krogs is okay for now. But again, I think it's getting nerfed next patch, so I don't know how it's going to play out. But you could try it out. You could even do, if you feel like you have good damage, you could do 2 Blood Spawn, or really any monster set of your choice. I could survive very well, just without really the Blood Spawn proc, or the Troll King, or additional damage from like Veladreth, Selines, or what have you. I'm pretty content with this, because I like flat stats. So 1 Blood Spawn, 5 Impreg, all medium, all Divines, and Veladreth. In case you didn't know what Impregnable Armor does, bam, there you have it. That's why we're using all Divines. For jewelry, using Agility. It's pretty generic, but it's real good. Good base stats. For the front bar, I'm using Crit Rush. You can use Stampede if you'd like. That's found right here. Second ability down. So Crit Rush, the farther you are away from the target, the more damage it's going to do. I forget really what the, it's 68% more damage based on the, there you go. 68% more damage based on the distance. Stampede, it doesn't have that. It just deals a nice snare. I forget for how much, but it's helpful when you're trying to land like a Wrecking Blow or a Dizzying Swing, whatever one you like to use. Speaking of which, second ability is Dizzying Swing. Probably the hardest hitting ability we have next to our ultimate. Second ability, Reverse Slice. I prefer Reverse Slice more because it's a splash AoE execute. It's very strong. Executioner, it deals 30% more damage, but to be honest, I don't think the 30% is really going to help you all that much right off of 300%, if you see what I mean. 300% is already pretty high for an execute, and it'll do the job for you perfectly fine. And I think it's more beneficial to potentially execute 2 people at the same time than just a single person, you know? So the person heals all the way back up and they're like a half stam, you're starting from square one. So Reverse Slice is my pick. Next up we have Rally. Probably one of the strongest heals in the game. Gotta use it. Enough said about that. Then we have Noxious Breath. That's found in Ardent Flame. It's a debuff. You could also use this ability here, Ransack. It's cheaper, but it's not a dot, and it's also it gives you a what's it called? Minor Resolve. Makes you a little bit tankier. You'd have to put this on your back bar. We'll talk about back bar in a little bit, and you'd have to put Claw right where Noxious Breath is. So it's not much of a change. It's pretty much on playstyle. It's all preference. I prefer Noxious, as I said, because it just adds a dot, you know, and it's AoE. It's a conal AoE, so you can hit more than one person with it. So if anything, you might actually be saving stem if you're grouping everyone together and you're hitting them with the Noxious Breath instead of just relentlessly stabbing them with Ransack. But again, it's up to you. So Noxious Breath is what I'm using, and that's found right here. So for our ultimate, we're using Take Flight. This ability hits like a truck. You could use Dawnbreaker of Smiting as well. Very, very strong ability. It adds more weapon damage if you have the passives for Slayer, I think, in Fighter's Guild. I don't think I have Fighter's Guild 10 yet. I'm very close to it. But I think even when I get Fighter's Guild 10, I'm going to stick with Take Flight because it's just such a heavy burst. And you can't dodge it. It's really good. And I know next patch too, they're buffing Dawnbreaker to where you cannot dodge it. So we'll see. We'll mess around with it a little bit. So yeah, Slayer increases your weapon damage by 3% for each Fighter's Guild ability slotted. So that's pretty strong. All right. For the back bar, buff bar, whatever you want to call it. First ability, we have Resolving Vigor. This is pretty self-explanatory. It's our main dot heal. It's very good. It's an AoE heal as well, so if you have buddies near you, and if you're wearing Troll King also, this'll proc Troll King for them. So that's good. So here's the ability I was talking about. I call it Claw, Venomous Claw, same thing. That's found right in Ardent Flame again. Strong ability, nice dot, gets stronger as the duration goes by. And then we go to, I believe it's Draconic Power, yep. We have Hardened Armor. You could use Spiked Armor. I just prefer the damage shield it gives you. It just gives you a little break for damage when you're trying to heal up, trying to become a little turtle, whatever you want to call it. Again, Volatile is still real good. I just prefer a Hardened Armor because it grants you that small little damage shield, and that'll make the world of a difference. And it also gives you, I think it's passive healing. So, yeah. Yeah, increases your healing received by 12%, so that's very strong. Next up in Earthen Heart, we have Igneous Shield. This is a pretty staple ability that DKs have. It's for sustain. It's for, I mean, major mending. It's real good, you know? And it's a good group play ability as well. So if you're real close to people near you, they're at low health, you pop Igneous Shield, Vigor, and they're good to go. They'll survive. Yeah, as I was saying for sustain, Helping Hands. When you cast an Earthen Heart ability, you restore 990 stamina. I mean, it doesn't seem like much, but I mean, let's roll dodge a little bit. Yeah, see, like it's not bad. And again, we have enough Magicka to hit Igneous Shield about 3 times, so that's pretty good. So, yeah, that's Igneous Shield. Anyway, for our back bar ultimate, I messed around with Corrosive Armor. It's way too expensive. You hit really hard with it because it's kind of like a mild version of the two-handed ultimate because it steals the enemy's resistance. It doesn't really give it to you, but hold on, let's read it again. Oxidize the green dragon blood in your veins, limiting incoming damage to 3% of your max health and dealing 1300 poison damage to enemies each second for 10.8 seconds. While active, your attacks ignore all. Okay, yeah. So it ignores all physical resistance for X amount of time. So it's very strong if you could get it, but it's 200 ultimate. It's pretty expensive. That's why I changed it up to the shield wall, because I mean, it's a little bit more practical for resource management. I mean, you can pop this, you'll restore like 4K stam. It's very strong. And also, I mean, this will save your life, you know? It's 0 block cost. I still gotta morph it too. And when I do morph it, I think it's called like magic wall. I don't remember, but it reflects projectiles, so or reflects spell projectiles. So I'm gonna be using that when I morph it. So it's a very strong ability.
All right, guys. I'm just gonna show you some brief gameplay mechanics of the build. So this scene here, came across some cheese build stand BK using Tremor, and it's probably some other proc set. He doesn't last long. I go to get some cover, know what I'm working with, get some resources back. To mag DK, I decide to go in with an ulti dump, get my resources back, put him on the defensive. He's not thinking about anything else but just trying to shield stack and heal. Notice also, heavy attack weaving, maintaining those resources, and that kills him. Here, I'm fighting this Nightblade, kind of turtling up a little bit, just playing with them. All of a sudden this EP guy comes along, sitting duck, doesn't know what he's doing, like all the EP guys. So, still kind of turtling up on him. He doesn't think he can kill me, so at some point he decides he's going to run away. And that's when this build kind of transforms into heavy, heavy damage, and he doesn't even see it coming. Get a good Wrecking Blow on him, execute, he's done. Good night.
So for CP, alright, again, this is subject to change. This is just for this patch. I'm even debating if I should upload this to YouTube or not, or just save it until Horns of the Reach releases. But I guess we'll start with the lever. So the lever, we have 32 into Warlord, just to increase our reduced cost of break free by 13.47%. 49 into Tenacity, helps with the stam regen with heavy attacks. We have 74 into Mooncap to get almost 14%. It's nice. And also, I wouldn't, but some people put a certain amount of points into Arcanist. I mean, our magic regen was already kind of low, so it's not going to buff it that much more. So, I mean, it's kind of up to you. It's whatever you're comfortable with at that point. Then for the Shadow, we have 41 into Tumbling, and that's about it for the green tree. Red tree, or blue tree, sorry. 36 into Blessed, just to scale off for healing. Real nice. 27 to Physical Weapon Expert, just above our light and heavy attack weaves, because we're going to be doing a lot of that. It's going to hit real hard. 48 into Master at Arms, buffs basically all our two-handed abilities. Really, 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 really good, so make sure you put enough points into that. Was I just there? Yeah. We have 8 into Thaumaturge, just to buff our dots a little bit. I mean, it's not like we're really concentrating on dot damage for this, but I mean, it'll help, especially if you're trying to execute someone. You put your Claw, you put your Noxious Breath, it'll add a pretty gnarly dot to him. 16 into Precise Strikes, just to get our crit healing up a little bit. Not that we're going to really rely on crit heals, but it helps. It also helps if you're fighting a Sork with no impen and you happen to catch them without their shields, you're going to hit really, really hard. We have 25 into Piercing. We're going to put more into this when we get our 10 extra CP. That's what I have in mind at least. So for right now, we have 25 into here. That grants us 2300 physical penetration. Very strong. Then for Mighty, we just have 50. Pretty generic. For the Steed, we have 44 into Resistant, gives us 1100 and some change, critical resistance. I just put it in just a real arbitrary amount of points between Spell Shield and Medium Armor Focus, but you can kind of work with these two if you want. You don't even have to put them in here if you don't want to, but I did. I have 24 into Ironclad. This is a really, really strong point you could invest in. I mean, it'll mitigate frags, it mitigates basically all abilities, all direct damage abilities. So that's very good. 55 into Hardy, 49 to Elemental Defender. You can kind of switch these up if you want, depending on what you feel weaker towards. With a DK, you're probably going to have more spell resistance, so you could maybe put more into Hardy if you want. I have 16 to Thick-Skinned, and then I have 10 into Quick Recovery, just to scale off the healing received a little bit. But anyway, guys, that's the Stalwart Knight build that I made. Hope you liked it. if you have any questions, feel free to comment below. Have a good one. Thanks for watching.